I believe that we can start. I'm not sure if I should use the microphone or you can hear me here. What would you say? Better mic? Because I'm moving a bit, but I will try to find a compromise. Okay, hello everyone. I'm so glad to see you. And frankly, I feel kind of stress on my back because it's not an online call. When I'm just sharing my screen and I can have pajamas. So as you can see, I hope that it doesn't look like pajama. If not, sorry about that. It wasn't the purpose. Yeah, welcome, Scottish Summit. I'm super glad that I'm here. It is my first time in Scotland. I'm Polish. I come from Poland. Currently, I live in Hamburg in Germany, but Polish is my first language, and I try to be as fluent as possible in English. So if any mistakes will happen, sorry about that. Just I'm asking for your patience. And yeah, my session, Design Thinking, Microsoft Teams Designing. How many of you ever had a chance to take part in design thinking workshops, or have you ever heard about design thinking before? Okay, participant or moderator or... Yeah, whatever. Okay, okay. My story with design thinking has started, I would say 3 or 4 years ago. I discovered that this method might be useful while implementing Teams and also bringing more user-friendly way of using Microsoft Teams. And I just discovered that, okay, if design thinking is a method, quite neutral method for every product, for every project to bring some innovation into it, why not Microsoft Teams designing? So why not using this method while launching Teams? But before we start, first of all, thank you to our sponsors. Of course, event sponsor Microsoft, big thank you. HSO, Promixo, PwC, AIS, DocuSign, Docs42, and we have even more sponsors. So can you applaud them a little bit? Yeah, without them, we wouldn't be here. Thank you so much. And yeah, let's move a little bit farther. So as I said, I'm Polish. My name is Edyta Gorzon, and my profession is to help end users to understand technology better. We all remember COVID has started. Suddenly, every organization really wanted to have Teams in place, and my role was just helping those organizations, helping end users, business people to launch Teams and also adapt easily to Microsoft Teams ecosystem. Besides of that, I got award, MVP award in 2019. I'm doing a lot of activities, community activities, while organizing SharePoint Saturday Warsaw or Adoption Change Management Teams Europe user group with my colleagues. I also got a ProSci certified, so maybe some of you heard about this ProSci change methodology to help organizations to move even better and also to decrease the resistance to change. But yeah, let's move to the session. So the agenda is, of course, introduction. So we had a small talk at the beginning. I heard small talks, this is the thing. Then we will move smoothly to design thinking. So what is that? What does it consist? What should be highlighted in this method? Then we will move to adoption change management Teams journey. So just kind of brief explanation, what is that? And the main part of this presentation is design thinking workshops in ACM Teams projects. And we'll focus the most on this specific part. And during this part, my intention would be to explain you how you can use design thinking methods on different stages while having a workshop with your users, with your business people, what kind of tools you may use, but also what kind of outcome you can get. And at the end, some benefits and questions and answers. I speak too fast, sorry. Hi. Okay, just a very, very brief explanation. So design thinking is a method of creating innovations based in the discovery and deep understanding of the client's needs. I love all of those definitions. You have to read at least 3 times to understand what the author wanted to say. But the idea behind is just to create the solution or just to create a product which is really useful for users. It's not like somebody from the leadership is coming and saying, you know, we want to have this specific system. Great, but are you sure that this is the best way we want to follow? Did you ask the end users? Did you ask the business? Quite often, I'm not blaming leadership, but the point is that we should start with the whys. We should start with really kind of a discussion with end users, what they really want to have. And of course, you can ask many questions, you can make some forms, questionnaires, blah, blah, blah. But you can also use design thinking, so structured way of creating innovations. And when we jump to the next slide, hopefully it works, design thinking has 5 stages. First stage, empathize, and in this stage, we simply want to understand who is our end user, what this person is doing on daily basis at work, what kind of challenges she or he can see, what is his or her profile and fluency with technology. So in this first stage, we simply want to understand who the end user is, what kind of person it is. So we really want to feel it. Then we have a next stage, define. In this stage, we work in a group or groups where we are generating the issues or the problems we are facing right now. Some people, they say, you know, Edyta, our coffee machine doesn't work. It's a very big issue in our organization. Or we have so many systems. We are using WebEx, we are using Slack, we are using Teams, we are using whatever, and we are just simply confused. So in this specific stage, which is called define, we generate the problems. We generate, it doesn't sound good, but good one. I need to remember that. I will tweet about this. We have to list the problems and understand what kind of problems do we have. Then we have ideate phase. Since we have all the problems, all the challenges, then we simply generate. Now, this is generation phase. The ideas, how we can solve those problems. And now you can ask me, okay, but we are talking about the technology. So how end users, they can suddenly show me or show us the solution if they have no clue about the existing technology. So I will explain it later, how to make ideate phase with people who don't really know what they can achieve with technology. Then we have prototyping part. So in this part, we simply prototype those solutions. Some ITs or project managers, they know what is that POC. And at the end, we are testing. So we are simply checking if it works or not. Yeah, let's move briefly to this ACM journey in Teams projects, just to give you kind of overview. Those are just the main steps: meet, organize, start to act, define the scenarios, make it real, engage them all. So those are just the project stages, main parts. And in those all stages, we simply do some different activities. We set up a team as a first part, we organize the working space, blah, blah, blah. Then in adoption and change management projects, we always have champions, we always have trainers, we have to make a communication plan, communication content, communication channels, all of those things must be prepared. Then we define the scenarios, so we think, okay, how teams can answer on our needs. Then we make it real. So we build up a pilot solution, we train the trainers internally, we prepare training materials, so leaflets, videos, whatever you wish or whatever works. And then at the end, of course, we launch Teams, we engage all the users, all the business with the new processes based on Teams environment. And then, of course, we let them fly. And now you can ask me, okay, Edyta, very nice graph, respect. Something is missing, but okay, that was just overview. But where design thinking can be used in this journey? So when you make such a project or similar project, where actually we can apply this method? The answer is in two places. The first one, depending how mature with teams your organization is, the stage, define the scenarios. This is the place where you can organize a design thinking workshop. And also at the end, so our users are fluent with teams, they know how to communicate in teams, they know how to collaborate with teams, but Teams is a platform, so it needs extra connections, extra integrations, something from Power Platform, like Vesku. So all of those things which are just to make your Teams experience even better. And yeah, how to use design thinking method and tools in a practical way in my Teams project. So more concrete stuff, sorry. Organize the design thinking workshop with your end user. So now I'll be showing you how to organize such a workshop with your colleagues at work, with your employees perhaps, and what kind of steps and tools can be used. Okay, so let me show you how to do so. First of all, when we organize such a workshop, we need to remember that there are few things which have to be done before. Participants, users, they come from different departments and they represent diversified positions in the company. So it's good to have a workshop with people from IT, with people from HR, with people from marketing, and so on, to understand different profiles and also different expectations, and how those people, what kind of benefits they can bring to the table to create the solutions in the future. The maximum number of people in a group is about 20. If it's on-site workshop, this is what I did before COVID has started. When it's online, roughly 10, maybe 12. This is the maximum. We all know that online workshops are not the easiest one, especially when you are a moderator. Small groups, 4 or 5 persons. Workshop around 4 hours. I believe that this is doable. We are slightly tired, but 4 hours are fine. Participants work in groups, mostly, and of course, checking emails, I don't know, calling during this workshop, blah, blah, blah. All of those things are not allowed. You as a moderator, so now we'll be talking about from the moderator perspective, you can choose if you wish to have the workshop in person or online. In person, of course, we all know we want to have a workshop, so we need a space, we need some markers, different old school devices. An online workshop, Microsoft Teams environment, dedicated team with channels, tasks by planner, and OneNote. This is the basic. Let's move forward. And now I'll be showing you just the examples from my workshop. So all the screenshots, all the notes, everything what I have here, it comes from real examples. So those things happened in the past, and now I'm just sharing my comments, insights with you. So when we talk about the online workshop, we have to prepare dedicated team in Teams, and assuming that we have 2 groups, every group belongs to one channel, Team Stars, Teams Heroes. And our general channel is just to explain the others, okay, this is how we move. This is the tasks by planner, where we will be doing something. This is a tab which is called rules, and in this tab we have some notes, so just the basic stuff. And yeah, in every channel, here are 2 approaches. So every group has its own channel, and inside I have a dedicated meeting in this channel. Of course, now we have breakout rooms, so you can also consider having breakout rooms. But I used in the past, before breakout rooms appear, just the channel meetings. So every group has their own meeting in a channel. And yeah, when we have all done, everything is prepared, or our room, or just our Teams team, then we can start design thinking workshop. We are starting with Empathize phase. And Empathize phase, depending if it's in person or online, can be done, for instance, in this way. So We have a few exercises. The one is ego shower. It comes from real workshop. Participants, they can stand in a circle, one by one. They enter to the center of the circle and they say something trivial, that I ate my breakfast today, or whatever, I woke up at 7 a.m. And the others reward this person with tremendous applause and cheer with the enthusiasm. So all of those exercises, you can Google them or simply ask me for more if you want to try it out. Their main purpose is just to relax our brains and also prepare our brains for future creation. And yeah, what we can do if we have online meetings. So again, participants introduce themselves by saying their name and role in the organization, plus adding an adjective that describes themselves starting with the first letter of their name. So my name is Edyta Gorzon, I'm Adoption and Change Management Consultant. E like energetic, and then one by one. This phase is very short one, just to break out, just to break out any barriers between us and also prepare our brains, as said before, for creative work. And then we move to the define phrase, stage. Define. In this specific stage from design thinking, we are defining the problems and current challenges we are facing. So, as I said, some people are complaining that our coffee machine is not good enough, but the others are saying, okay, the technology we're using is not good enough. Participants, they have roughly 15 minutes, so every group is working separately, and they are just generating those challenges and problems all together. When this phase is done, this is, of course, here, slow down. Here's the example how to define those problems and challenges when you have online workshops. So you are using Planner as a tab, you have a bucket which is called problems, and then the group is adding new tasks as just virtual post-it to this bucket. So at the end, we have a long list of them. Then, when those problems are generated, the idea behind is to group them. Because too many systems, too many emails, as you can see, but also too small kitchen or coffee machine doesn't work. So it's extremely important to group those problems. And for that, we can use just labels we have in our tasks. You can also change the name. Here I kept just pink, red, yellow, but we can change something for communication or integration or whatever. And the types of groups examples, so those are the ones which appeared the most during workshops. I had a chance to manage communication, document management, many IT platforms. Let's say that's it. And yeah, now we are set. We have our problems, we grouped them, so we can move forward. And yeah. And you remember that I said, okay, there is a definition part, but there is the next part where we want to ask users how to extend or how to improve our teams. And in this specific part, we are going to have an inspiration session, kind of breakout session where your role, you as a moderator, you as a Microsoft expert, you have a chance to shine. What you can do. For instance, you can just prepare the inspiration session prepared by you in advance while knowing your company, where you may show all sweet spots of Microsoft Teams like bots, custom apps, third-party solutions, any workflow, everything what might be useful for your users, but without pushing them that this is something what we really have to have because I said so. So kind of inspiration session. You can also take some sample apps. Microsoft is providing some sample apps based on the Power Platform. Here we have bulletins, we have employee ideas. Why not to show them that, hey, this is something we can actually use internally. We don't have to invest for any other external, internal, whatever solution. We can actually use something what Microsoft already shared publicly. And then this session is about 30 minutes, not too long, but really packed with concrete examples. And then we can move forward. We can move forward. And okay, our participants, they saw what are the capabilities, what we can achieve. So now let's talk about the problems we listed. And then let's think about, okay, we have to narrow those problems that can be solved by Microsoft Teams. So before we said that the coffee machine doesn't work or kitchen is too small, we know that those things Microsoft, at least at this moment, cannot solve, but maybe somebody has, is there any rumor? Microsoft is making kitchen bigger or something? Not really. So in this specific stage, we just move all the key problems, which are really the problems that might be solved by technology. We move them from problems bucket to key problems bucket, so the second one in our planner when we talk about the online version. And yeah, we had inspiration session, we talked about problems, we labeled them, we selected the most important ones. Now it's time for problems presentations. So normally I have 15 minutes chat with attendees, and they are just exchanging their findings. So in our opinion, this is the most important one, or in ours, this is the most important one. And then at the end, we collect all of them by type, but also we narrow them by the ones which can be simply solved thanks to Microsoft Teams and other integrations around. We have problems, we had inspiration session, so now we can move to next step, which is called Ideate. In this stage, we simply generate the solutions. We already got some inspiration from moderator. Our brains are relaxed. We had a chance to complain a bit about the problems we are facing currently. So now let's brainstorm together and let's find the best solution. Ideate. This is the third bucket when we use Planner. And how Microsoft Teams can be used in our organization to solve the current problems and challenges. Now our participants, attendees, they have around 15 minutes to brainstorm together. I mean, every group brainstorm together. And it's just simply listing the ideas, what teams can bring to our table. So the possibility to work with external partners in one place, or onboarding process in Teams, dedicated team for HR. So all of those examples are the real ones. And after 15 minutes, of course, we have those ideas, solutions we want to have, or we think that they might be useful for our organization. Then every group has to choose the best ideas. Quite often I have a very long list with different ideas. This time I have to say, okay, just 2 ideas. So we have 2 groups, 4 ideas, that's it, because I know that in the future somebody has to build up all of those ideas, all of those solutions, so it's very important to have just 2 per group. And yeah, so those are the selected ideas. We move them to the second bucket. And in this specific view, we have the ideas which came from those 2 groups all together. And yeah, okay, so I have ideas. I know some technical stuff. I'm a moderator, but it doesn't say a lot, right? If somebody said, okay, bot for IT tickets, we don't see the context. Okay, it's nice idea, but how can I really provide what they expect? So, in the next step, this is again your role as a moderator. You have to spend about half an hour, maybe 1 hour, to discuss with your users what do you mean by saying onboarding process in Teams, dedicated team for HR? This is trivial. But if you are talking about internal communication plus any bots around or whatever, then it's not that easy. And now, this is the time for deeper discussion. Questions, answers. Of course, here is the example from one of my on-site workshops when we're just brainstorming together with the group. And you can, if you have online version of your session, of course, online you use OneNote. And let's go to the funny part, prototype. Okay, I have my notes. Workshop just ended. My notes are my notes. And my job to be done is just describing first, document first, what we found out. So we are summarizing the workshop and propose the technical solutions that may fill out, not fill out, but they can be kind of base for future prototyping, real prototyping and developing. In this specific example, I have two examples. So integration with IT services and onboarding bot, where I just described briefly the concept, and then what are the user benefits, because the solution comes from users, business benefits to motivate the leadership, why actually this is important. Of course, the description can be longer, but people, they want to have just one pager. That's why this is prepared this way. And the technology behind. So here we have Teams, just websites embedded in Teams, Teams Work Hub, one of the apps based on Power Platform, and second, Microsoft Teams and Power Virtual Agent Bot. That's it. It can be even more. I would say that in these two specific examples, it's quite less, especially in the current times when everyone is in Teams and we want to extend Teams as a platform, but it's rather about sharing the concept, how you can prepare such a summary. Okay, and now it's time to create the real things. So after approval from my customer or from the group with whom I worked before, it's time for real work. So we transform those scenarios, those ideas, into the Teams environment. Here is just one example. That was the trivial one. And here is another one where actually Work Hub has been implemented. It comes from the customer. The customer was, I'm not sure if I can say the name, so better not. But big company, well-known brand selling coffee. And it's not Costa Coffee. So the idea behind was how to connect frontline workers, baristas, with office workers. And we had a project where baristas, they have been asked to bring their own device, and they were using Teams on their mobile phone. And since we wanted to have, first of all, the platform for safe communication, not Facebook or WhatsApp groups, because that was in the past. And also have an application inside this mobile app where they can simply log in or access different third-party platforms. I don't really remember what was that, but it was something related with HR. They had any specific HR platform, and thanks to Work Hub, they were able to have this specific connection between Teams and other platforms they used in that times. So it really comes from the real life. And yeah, at the end, we have a testing phase. Testing phase, when the solution is ready, or at least the prototype is ready, we are giving our users, so the ones who took part in the workshop, these specific solutions for roughly 2 weeks. So they have a chance to play around a bit, they have a chance to share some feedback, they have a chance to simply check if it's something what we expected, or rather just it doesn't work and we have to repeat the workshop again. No, it's not that bad, but it depends on you. You are a moderator, so if you are getting more information from the audience, then you can deliver better content. So yeah, 2 weeks. I have here at least 4 weeks. Depends, of course, on the project size, but 2 weeks, it's quite tight. We are gathering the feedback as said. We can also use employee ideas. For instance, if we have presented this specific application during our inspiration session, you can also use that to, in the same time, to adapt them with the new reality, with new possibilities, which can be done inside teams. And yeah, and when we have a feedback, we have time to polish the solution, and if needed, repeat the workshop. It didn't happen often in my life that we had to repeat the workshop, but if you had such a situation that you have to repeat because for some reason there were some misunderstandings in the communication, you should get back to the part where you ideate. So you just create, you brainstorm the solutions again. Because sometimes, unfortunately, we have different wording, we are using different languages, different, sometimes corporation slogans. And yeah, those communication bottlenecks, they can simply happen. But hopefully, you will not experience that in the future. Design thinking benefits, there are many, but if I would say which of them are the most important ones from my point of view, is the fact that we really, really talk with users. And those users are engaged in a creation phase. If they are engaged in a creation phase, it means that they also feel kind of committed to the things we build up together. So naturally, you are bringing them to this creation phase, and also you are getting their commitment. You are getting their satisfaction kind of by default. Resistance to change, this is the biggest problem. Why we should change something is good like it is. Okay, it's not perfect, but at least I know all the paths we are following. And of course, I need to use different, I don't know, I have Slack and Teams, but actually I know how it works, so why should I suddenly switch to Teams or the other way back or whatever? And since users, they really know that those ideas come from their minds, they are eager to implement those things faster and also build a nice and optimistic, enthusiastic rumor around the new things which are cooking. So yeah, we are building the custom real-life Teams usage scenarios which solve the true business problems. And from the adoption and change management perspective, at least in my eyes, the last point is very important one, because if we have a solution or prototype or solution which was accepted after this prototyping phase, you have a perfect starting point to create your training materials. So you are not showing your employees, your users, okay, this is just plain Teams, two channels, and this is if you want this, if you want that, you just click here, click there, so without any context, ABC, XYZ. So I'm sure that many of you saw those kind of demos without context at all, just plain platform. And here we already build up something, so it's way easier to explain the content and the technology, that it really fits to our organization and it really fits to our needs. So perfect base for training materials, future global trainings you have in plans perhaps. And yeah, I believe that's it. That was quick. Yeah, thank you. And again, thank you, sponsors. Yes?
I have questions. From the perspective of when you are in the phase of presenting solution, or not a solution, but you're presenting some kind of solution, very often you have stakeholders who are bringing their own solutions. How do you approach this?
They know better.
Moderator, you are pushing them to one side.
Yeah. Very good one. Very good one. I'm sorry that I'm just moving, but I'm not sure if you can hear me, or maybe this is just my impression. What I did, I had once a similar situation. It was at the beginning when I started with design thinking. That we found out some solutions, blah, 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 everything was great, and then blocker. C blocker, to be precise. And the best solution would be to invite one of those to take part in this workshop. I know that might be hard to organize because they normally have no time. But in my case, I always had somebody from the leadership. Of course, at the beginning, people were a little bit tense. Oh, our boss is here. So it's better to not complain that this machine is broken. But design thinking brings a lot of great exercises in the empathize phase. The one I just show you these trivial examples. I know that they are kind of ridiculous, and you think, is she crazy? She's talking about any ego shower. But yeah, I know it looks weird, but this is the main purpose of this exercise, to do weird things, not that we are so professional, and my mic is here, and I'll be so professional. And those kind of exercises, I'll be more than happy to share the list of those exercises with you, or whoever will contact me directly. But they really help to integrate those people, no matter what's their role. It's hard. I'm not saying that it's easy to release the pressure that boss is standing next to me, and if I start complaining, I'm fired. But I believe that this is one of the solutions. The other one would be this specific table, not that basic like I have here, a little bit wider documentation, where you are just talking with the C-level man or lady, and you are pointing out, yes, they complained about this specific thing. If we don't change it, those benefits are gone. Those potential profits for your company are gone. Some are also fine with this. But it depends on the organization. It depends if it's a public sector, it's a smaller, bigger. We all know how it works. There is no one explanation. But if you have such an idea, I'll be more than happy to have a chat with you. And okay, so yeah, I will be more than happy to know your organization better and give you some hints how I would do so. Yeah, I know that it's a little bit sometimes balancing. But yeah, good one. Thank you. Any other comments? Yes.
When I've done these sessions before, and we've got the difficult stakeholders, you've got our people in the room, you've got the business in the room. I'm working with a client right now, and they were wanting just to implement their help desk technology, and it was all led by technology.
Mm-hmm.
And it was only, the session started next week, and it was only like earlier on this week, they were like, oh, maybe we should get the business in the room. I'm like, okay, that's totally what you want, right?
But at least some idea. Wow, business, help desk for business. Right?
In the room, like, oh, we'll build your persona profile, like they get the business in the room, right? So their voice is heard. But we've all made a point of getting the right stakeholders in the room. So for me, one of the main points of design thinking is to reach that consensus with the stakeholders, and they have to be in the room, and they have to have their voice heard. Because afterwards, if they say, oh, I didn't get my point across, I
Mm-hmm.
You were in the room, you had your chance, you had your platform, yeah. And if you tell them up front, say if you're not in the room, then you're not going to get a chance to get your little private project, prioritized, yeah. So you've got to manipulate. You've got to
When you is it recorded? But yeah, this is a challenge. Seriously, I know that this is a challenge to motivate those C-level leadership people to take part in this workshop. I know. But as you said, if they don't hear user voice, it's hard to convince them. And personas, yeah, I know, personas, we use personas in different situations. Marketing, while preparing any campaign, in change management as well. But at the end of the day, this is what stays in your heart.
Have you looked at Microsoft Catalyst at all? Microsoft Catalyst is Microsoft's framework for design thinking.
No, I never use that. I'm just created something by myself. It works, so that's why I'm sharing. But it's a good one. Yeah, there was another.
I quite like the idea that you sort of talked about using Planner for ideas capture stuff, but you also mentioned on the slide other idea apps. Are there any good idea apps that work well with teams that you or people in the room might have used?
Tools, Miro, Maxone are all
Miro, but yeah, I tried to use Miro, for instance, but I'm not Miro. Sorry. Miro. Yeah. I tried to, but for some reason I wanted to have everything inside Teams. And also, while using Planner, it was also motivation to my attendees to understand what Planner is. Maybe just the surface, but at least to show them that you can click and nothing will happen. So it's also behind the lines, you are just selling the technology. That's why I'm using Planner.
Well, you've got that double reason for showcasing.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. Yeah.
You've given examples of in-person and online following the design thinking process. We found the solutions, the ideating process, they've come up with different ideas depending on which way they're doing it.
No.
Is in-person or
Based on my experience, they are more or less the same. So I haven't seen any specific difference, but yeah. Yeah, sometimes technology can be a barrier and this physical interaction is missing. Yeah.
whether it is a benefit, whether it's doing it online and it's an online-based
Uh,
online-based solution, whether that benefits because they're using the tools.
Yeah, very good one. I don't know actually how to answer this question. It's a good one. If we have just the meeting like we have today, and I can see you, we can have interaction, we can have small talks just before my session, right? It's different experience, so the distance is shorter. And it really helps for the future activities we are doing together, like those brainstormings or complaining together. Complaining together sounds better, just defining the problems, complaining. So from this human perspective, for sure, in person is better. But if you want to sell technology in between the lines, maybe it's set it up online. The question is, so when you start with Teams, maybe it's better to do it online. I know that it sounds risky, but you are selling the technology. But when you are using design thinking method just to extend Teams as a platform, not only for communication and collaboration, meaning Teams, channels, blah, 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 but add something on the top, maybe it really makes sense to make a physical workshop because they already know the platform. Now we need to have ideas how to improve it.
It's difficult, I think, because I've run a couple of workshops specifically to map out processes and technology and the people
Mm.
what people are saying. And when you're actually in a room, you can see who's sitting quiet, and they need a voice, so they're there for a reason, and you can pull them in and say, what would you say, what would you say, and then you can get them moving around the room. And sometimes actually if you move from left to right, you can get people to think about what they don't like to the left of the room, and then as that's all come out as a group, you can move to the right and then look at the solution, and that's kind of transitioning them through. So there is actually a left to right thinking about this as well, in a physical room as well as even online, that you move from the left to the right, so you're leaving the problem behind and moving towards the future of the solution. But it's really interesting to hear that, how you're using Planner, and it's interesting that how you've got the puppets and all that. So that particularly I think is really interesting as well, you know, your template.
All right, thank you.
Really good, because you do need that sometimes. You just
Yeah.
gotta look at, well, what am I going to get for it? And
So we can connect. As said, we all can connect, and I'll be more than happy to share. What I have somewhere in the cloud. All of the examples I used in the past. If you just need some inspiration, yeah, and I'm always happy to help you to shape your workshop. Good. Any other questions? Thank you.